Good morning, lady bosses. It is 10 a.m. Tuesday morning. What is today? September 17th. How the heck did it get to be September 17th already? And at my networking meeting this morning, 3 different people this morning were already referencing the holidays. Like, holy cow. Time is just going faster and faster. And the older I get, the faster it goes. You probably all experienced that. Somebody's here. Good morning. Boy, somebody's really prompt and has their timer on, I bet, because if I don't have my timer, Darlene, good morning. I love it. If I don't set my timer, forget it. I'm not showing up anywhere on time. 2 more people are here. Awesome. Well, good to see you ladies today. Hope you're having a good day. Hope your week started off strong and just keeps getting better. Okay, let's get started because this is a hot topic. This is another one of the topics that you picked. So I'm thrilled for your input because I want to talk about the things you want to talk about. And the title today is, Do I Sound Like I'm Speaking Another Language? And you all know what I'm talking about, especially if you're married. If you're married, you've got a husband, or you just have men in your life. How often do you feel like you must be sounding like the Charlie Brown teacher? You know, wah, wah, wah kind of thing. Like, oh my God, did you hear anything I said? Morning, Colleen. Morning, Melissa. So often you think, oh my gosh, I've told you this 100 times. I told you this an hour ago. How did you not hear it? Well, we're going to focus on the fact that, again, hey, Barb, the only things in life that you can control or that you can do anything about are things that pertain to yourself. You're not going to magically wave a wand and he's just suddenly going to know how to communicate you, whether it's he or clients or family or friends. Hey, Vina, you can change yourself to either start to understand people better or help them to be more receptive to hearing you. But here, good communication honestly comes down to one thing. You have to recognize and remember every time you're speaking with someone new that many of the people you're speaking to in your life literally speak a different language. Totally speak a different language. I'm really totally serious about that. If I'm speaking to you in Russian and you don't understand Russian, you do not understand a word I'm saying. And we may as well be speaking Russian to a lot of people because we don't all understand each other. And it's funny because I was just in Europe, but I bet that even here in the States, many of you have had this kind of a situation arise where you're talking to someone who's talking to you in another language and you tell them that you don't understand anything they're saying, but they keep talking. They just keep talking, and they keep talking as if maybe if they talk long enough, you're just going to magically start understanding them. And obviously you're not, it's not going to happen. Sometimes they start talking more loudly, or they start talking more slowly. Like, okay, if I talk really loud or if I talk slowly, she'll understand me. It's like, no, I don't understand Russian. No matter what you do, no matter how long you talk, I do not understand Russian. So there's the key. You need to understand that a lot of the people you're talking to honestly don't hear you because they don't speak your language. Okay? So we're going to start with men. And before we talk about men, I'm throwing out this disclaimer that even though this is generally true of men, there are men that aren't going to fit this bill. There are men that are good communicators and really are way more on the same wavelength as a lot of women and can understand and hear everything you say. But that's rare. And if that's the kind of husband you have, that's awesome. But you're still going to be you're going to be meeting and talking to a lot of other men in your life, and that's not going to hold true. So here we go. Start with men. Mars, Venus, ladies, okay? You've all at least heard of the book. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Even if you've never read the book, you don't need to read the book because everything you need to know is right in the title. Morning, Deb. Right in the title, it's telling you that men and women are from different planets. Okay, so number one, we not only speak different languages, but we don't even have a clue about each other's ways. We act so differently that we really genuinely may as well be from another planet. And if you remember that, do you understand how much easier it's going to be to communicate with someone when you're going right into it, realizing, okay, they're not going to understand me and they're not going to understand anything I'm saying. So I have to figure out how to speak to them in a way that they'll understand. I remember Seinfeld doing some stand-up years ago, and he's talking about aliens, saying how aliens, if they're watching us on Earth, imagine they're watching us and they're watching you walk your dog. It's like, okay, they're watching a human being being pulled by a leash by this animal. The animal poops. They stop, they pick it up in a little bag, they throw it away. Well, if they're watching, who the heck do you think they think is in charge? Not us. It's like we're the servant of the dog. And so it's a totally different perspective. So when you're different planets, our perspective of men, their perspective of us is totally off because all we know is our frame of reference, okay? So the biggest problem with being from different planets, and the biggest problem I think with men and women, is that women we're so complicated. Men are not. Men are, and again, boy, I'm going to a lot of comedians today because comedians love to poke fun at this, but Chris Rock said once, men only need 4 things. They need you to stop talking so much, make them a sandwich, and the other 2 things are sexual. And honestly, it really almost comes down to that. Men are really quite simple in the amount of things they need or what they need. I don't have to tell you how complicated we are. How many times are we upset and we don't even know why we're upset? We can't even figure out why we're upset or what's going on in our lives because we're so complicated. So do you think that set up a platform for easy communication between 2 people when we're so different? It doesn't. So let me just give you 5 things that are going to really help you communicate with men, and then we're going to move on to relationships and business. But with men especially, because I think this is one of the biggest areas, one of the toughest areas to really establish good communication. Number 1, stroke his ego. Oh my gosh, if you want to open up and make a man so receptive to wanting to please you and to talk to you and understand you, stroke his ego. Compliment him on anything, but be sincere. And listen, less is more. Like Chris Rock said, just don't talk so much. Real simple, like, honey, I love the way you are with the kids. Or, like, wow, I had no idea you knew how to do that. Just be wowed by him a little more often when he does something that deserves being wowed at. Just let him know you appreciate him, because that really is going to go so far into really opening him up to just being so receptive and wanting to be closer to you, okay? Number 2, again, like Chris Rock said, don't talk so much, okay? Men, savor silence. If you have an experience, whatever that experience that is, sometimes you just love to talk about it in big detail over and over and relive it 100 times. And men are like, we've been there, we've done it. Like, okay, like really, it's done. And the more you talk, the less he's going to hear you. You're just going to turn into Charlie Brown's teacher, okay? So less is more. Ladies, that's why we have girlfriends, right? Because we're all on the same page. We like the same stuff. If you want to talk about something for hours on end, a girlfriend will understand that and she'll be right in the trenches with you, like wanting to rehash it and talk about it over and over. So that's why we have girlfriends. Save that for your girlfriends. Don't dump all this stuff on a man who just is going to be shut down by it, okay? Another one, and this is a big one. Men don't need to hash out all their problems, okay? If a man's going through something big, like say at his job, say they're restructuring and a month from now he doesn't even know if he's going to have a job and just lots of things going on in work. A lot of times a man can get real quiet when he's going through stuff like that, right? And what are you thinking? Okay, we come from our frame of reference, and so we impose our feelings on this man and think, oh my gosh, I wonder what he's going through. I wonder if he's okay. Like, is he depressed? I wonder what he's feeling, yada, yada, yada. You know what? Most likely he's feeling nothing. Most likely he's not going through anything except that he's gone into his man cave. Okay? I mean, we have a lot of physical man caves today where guys go to watch the game and drink beer. But the mental man cave, that's where a guy needs to go to just be quiet and figure stuff out. So if he's gone through a tough time, he's not getting all upset and depressed. And again, generalization, but most men are not getting all, they're just figuring out what their course of action is going to be. They're just figuring out the solution, because men live to identify problems and fix them, right? They identify and they fix. That's what they do. So they get quiet. They go into this man cave because they're just figuring all this stuff out, okay? So recognize that. And when he's gone through something like that, just leave him alone. Don't nag him. Don't hound him and say, honey, I wish you'd just talk to me. I wish you'd open up. I mean, doesn't that sound familiar? Women do that. That's not what he needs. He's not going through woman stuff. He's just trying to figure out what his next step's going to be. If he needs to talk about it, he will. But let him be quiet. Let him go into his man cave. Okay, another issue. crying really freaks a man out. Okay? Now think about this. If a man cries, it's usually over something tragic. Okay? But think about it, ladies. Come on. You could be like so happy one minute, and then you spill the milk and you're sobbing like a baby, right? We know that. And again, we get upset sometimes and don't even know why we're upset. Well, we've got hormone fluctuations going on. We've just got so much complication in our makeup that we're a very confusing species. And a man will look at you in a case like that and be like, what the heck? Like, you have no idea what's going on. And he's totally frustrated. And his frustration, because he doesn't know what's going on, is probably going to seem to you like he's being really insensitive. But he's not insensitive. He's frustrated because, again, he lives to identify and fix problems. And now you've totally mystified him. Like, I don't even know what's going on here. So how in the world am I going to help her to fix it? He doesn't know what to do, so he retreats. So he's not being insensitive. He's mystified, okay? So understanding these things is going to help so much. And the last little thing, these are just little things that can just really help you. But saying I'm sorry isn't something easy for a man to do. Not necessarily a regular in his vocabulary, but look for his expression of being sorry in the things he does. He might not say the words, but he might show it in a different way. I mean, think about a couple guys getting into a barroom fight and beating the crap out of each other, right? And as soon as they're laying on the floor and they can't even breathe anymore, they're helping each other up, they're grabbing a beer, and they're fine again, right? Men, things happen, they duke them out, and then it's done. It's over. It's resolved. They don't need this big, long resolution or all these, all the closure that we do. They just, hey, it's done. It's over. And same thing when things happen with us. And it's funny because just a couple weeks ago, I got really mad at Mo about something. I don't even remember what it was. And I'm a lot more like a man in a lot of ways. It's like once it's over, it's done. Like, I don't care. It's over. But it was so funny because like for the next day, he was just like doing all these little things that he doesn't normally do to just like really be kind and helpful. And I thought, oh, he's kind of making up. He feels bad that he did whatever. He didn't say I'm sorry, but don't get hung up on words when somebody's actions are really accomplishing the same thing. If I don't say I love you every time I see my kids or every time I talk to them, it doesn't mean I don't love them, because my love for them is evident in everything I do and everything I say. So they know it. I live my love for them. It's not, some people use the words so frivolously that they lose their meaning. Just put a whole lot, and I'm not saying don't say it, but put more of your energy into living it and walking it than just saying the words, okay? Whether it's saying I'm sorry, whether it's I love you. So they're just some little things, but honestly, if nothing else, if you take away nothing else, take away the fact that he's from a different planet. He doesn't understand you. Don't expect him to understand you. Don't expect him to think like you or talk like you, but these are just some insights as to how he does work and how he ticks, and maybe will help you open up better communication. Now, how about other people in your life, your friends, your family? If you haven't read the 5 love languages, I encourage you either to read it or to go online and look up a 5 love language quiz and do a quiz and see what language you speak. Because even in our relationships, we show our affection for people in totally different ways. And usually we show it based on what we need. And that's not always good. Again, that's like me speaking to you in Russian, even though you don't understand Russian, okay? And a great illustration of this is my mom and her sister. My mom, her love language is acts of service. And so that's how she shows her love to people. But if she's showing her love to you, and your love language is words of affirmation, you're not going to feel like she loves her. And in their case, that's my aunt's love language, and my mom's is acts of service. So my mom will show her love by making her a meal and bringing her a meal. But my aunt feels like my mom doesn't love her because she's not constantly saying, oh, I love you, honey, and oh my gosh, you're so wonderful and you're beautiful. She needs all the words. So be sensitive to understand that with your friends, with your family, if they need something different to show them love and you want to show them your love, you need to do it in their language. Again, you're speaking Russian, they're not understanding you. So, the thing we automatically do without thinking, again, is our frame of reference if this is my love language, then this is how I show my love. But I may be speaking Russian in a room full of people who speak Italian. So I have to be sensitive to what you need and how you feel my love, and that's how I have to show it. So that's important with friends, with family. And then finally, what about with business and clients? There are so many different kinds of quizzes you can take that, will identify different personality types. There's DISC, there's Bank, there's Myers-Briggs. I mean, you name it, there's a million. And it's great to do that to figure out where you are and what your personality is. But I would just say it's more important to be sensitive to the people around you. If you're a really, a big I in the DISC, you're like the party doesn't start till you're there, and you're the one with all the energy in the room, and you're the one that walks in the room and says, I'm a hugger, and you hug everybody. That might be who you are. But if you're running around hugging all these people who are not that personality type and who are absolutely like, oh my gosh, really? I just say in business situations, just dial it back. Go into something, just like I said, dial it back. The safest thing to do, you walk into a room, is, extend a handshake. You'll get to know people and how touchy they are when you're having conversation with them. If it's comfortable to give them a hug afterwards, but don't just impose your hugging on people because you're a hugger, because everybody doesn't want to be hugged. And it's just about not being selfish. That's who you are, but don't force that on anyone else, because if that's what I want, but that's not what Janet likes, I'm being very selfish by forcing something on you, Janet, that, makes you uncomfortable. So start off with a handshake. Dial back the personality. If you're a really wild, vibrant personality, just dial it back until you take the temperature of the person you're talking to. And if they're the same way, then man, you can ramp it up, and man, you're on the same page. That's awesome. But if not, then you kind of meet them on their ground, and you're just going to have way better communication, right? So bottom line, like I've said, we communicate in the language we know, but the best communication you'll ever experience is going to be from learning other languages. So learn the other language of men, learn the love language of your family and friends. And from a business standpoint, just dial things back, be a little more professional until you gauge people and see where they are. So I hope that's helpful. Oh my gosh, there are a bunch of you here, but no chatter today. Anybody have any thoughts on anything? It's just kind of a quiet day. Maybe you're still waking up, or maybe there just wasn't a whole lot. I know we know a lot of this and we hear it all the time, but again, implementing it is a whole different animal. Okay, well, we are almost at 20 minutes. I love you being part of the page. And again, I encourage you to invite your friends. I want to grow the page and get as more people involved in the group, as many as we can. And next week, I forget what the topic's going to be next week, but it was the third one. It might be how to make more money. Whatever, there were top 3 that you tagged for your top topics. So that'll be the one we do next week. So, okay, ladies, if that's all you've got, I hope you have a great day, a great week, and we'll see you here next week at 10 o'clock. All right, have a good one. See ya.